Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Bird Guy Games. I'm Bird Guy, your host. So today I'm going to talk to you about this new game that I got that I'm really excited about. It's called GasLands. You might have heard of it before. It's a miniature type war game, but it's also car racing. A lot of people have compared it to the game Car Wars, which is an older game. Some of you might know about it. I've looked at that game before. It looks pretty interesting, but I found this game and I'm very, very excited about this game. First thing I'm excited about it is it's a war game that is super cheap to get into. $15 to buy the rulebook, and then you can build an army for like $3. It's crazy. Also, you don't have to do any painting if you don't want to. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction here. So first thing is, like most miniature games, it's got movement templates. But part of the thing that keeps the cost down is, here are the movement templates right here. You just print them off the internet. They have them free to download. This is like a cardstock material, and just cut them out, and these work for that. So those are pretty cool. Here are some of the tokens that you may need. You don't necessarily need them because you can just replace these with different six-sided dice if you wanted to. The only other thing you might need is some special dice that they have that they call, I believe, shift dice or skid dice. So now in their manual though, they show you how you could just use a six-sided dice as one of these. But I'm lucky enough to have my own 3D printer, and on Thingiverse, somebody has put out, I'll put the link down in the description to let you guys, so you guys can get to that if you want, but somebody has made the files for the dice. As you can see, it says shift there, spin, slide, and then it's got the hazard there on the bottom. So I printed a set of those, and I'm going to go back with a permanent marker to fill in the insides so that it's a little bit easier to see. So that's really great. So the next thing is, with team building, instead of like, a lot of you guys probably have heard of Star Wars Legion. That's the new big thing right now. Big miniature war game by Fantasy Flight Games. Great game. My local game store has a test version of it that I got to try. Super fun. I was definitely looking into buying it, but it is quite expensive. That's why I really like this game. So first thing is, no cards. You go online. You can go online to their team builder, or you can just use what it says in the book to build your team. So I went online and built a team. It's my Formula Race team. So as you can see, this first car here is named F1. Then I've got Formula Guard and F2. So I went online to make these, and then just printed out the cards. These are quite large cards, as you can see. These are good for beginners, definitely, because down here in special perks, like it shows you ammo, page 33, blast, page 33, glue dropper, page 34. The normal cards don't have that on there, so I definitely think these are good for starting out, but you don't necessarily need these. You can go down to the ones that are just normal card sized. So I'll walk you through this team real quick. This is F1, 18 points, you can see, is a performance vehicle, part of Team Idris. So he's got a 4 handling, he's a medium weight, 1 crew member, max gear of 6. He's got 8 hull points, then he's got a glue dropper, mines, and all cars come with a handgun. F2 is completely identical to him, and then we have Formula Guard, who is 13 points, a buggy, 4 handling, light weight, 2 crew, 6 is its max gear, and it has 6 hull points. This one has a minigun front-facing and a machine gun front-facing. So let me explain the strategy behind this. The idea is that these 2 formula cars race out way in front of the pack. As you can see, they're gear 6. Gear 6, 5 and 6, opens you up to this long movement token. It cuts you off from some of the sharper turns, but you have the faster movement. And if you can utilize things like slide at the end of your movement, you don't really even need turns. So the idea with them is they race out in front of the pack, and even though they're kind of more fragile because they're formula cars, that's okay. Their weapons are a glue dropper and a mine, all rear acting weapons, so that way they can stop people from catching up to them. Then the idea behind this Formula Guard is he sits in the back of the pack with his machine gun and minigun and just shoots into the pack to try and help his formula cars get ahead. Now, I haven't mentioned about how you do the miniatures, because obviously in a miniature war game you need miniatures. These are cars, so the great thing about this is, here's my team. These are just 3 Hot Wheels cars. This guy is acting as F1. This Hot Wheels car is called flashback. This guy's acting as F2. He is called CFG 97, I believe. And then we have this guy acting as Formula Guard, and he is called something like, I don't see it here, but it's something like it's a snow buggy, basically. I'm not sure exactly what it is. He's from the Snow Speeder series. I got a lot of those cars. I really like them. So yeah, I picked out these three to act as my guys. Now, a lot of it's suggested, and you can, but it's not necessary. You can paint these up, add some guns to them like a lot of people are doing, but not necessary. So if you're not really good at painting or anything yet, you can just get these $1 Hot Wheels cars, super cheap. So that means it was $3 to build this army. Now, I've been collecting Hot Wheels cars for a long time. So I've got this. This is a box full of my Hot Wheels collection. I have even more than this, but this is my most recent ones. So it's really nice. I can just build a team, dig in there, find some cars, and there we go. We got that team. So now we're gonna move on to terrain. Like I said, I was looking into buying some building some terrain because I was looking into buying. I was looking into building some terrain because I was looking into buying Star Wars Legion. So I started on some terrain. Now that I'm not buying Star Wars Legion, I can theme it more towards this race theme. So as you can see, I went outside and got some sticks. Whittled them down so they weren't too big, and then I sealed them in these plastic bags to try and get rid of any of the bugs or anything else like that. There's a really nice big one right here. So I'm going to take those out. I believe that they've been in there long enough, so I'm going to take those out and work on those today. And then I also collected a bunch of rocks. I got some really interesting ones here. I got some more too. My most interesting ones are in a separate bag. But like, I got this right here. Some neat flat ones. A bigger flat one. So those are all really interesting things that I can use to as terrain for this game. So all I did with those is I brought them inside, washed them off, used an old toothbrush to make sure I got all the dirt off of them and that they were pretty clean. And then those work really well as terrain. Now if you're worried about them scratching your table, I might do this with some of them. You could just use some hot glue and glue some felt onto the bottom of them. So some of these flat ones are a little bit fragile. As you can see, they kind of broke up a little bit. That's not a big deal though, because I was carrying them around in a bag for a while, so got that. Now I'm going to come back in just a minute and start trying to work on some of these sticks back here and see what I can do with those to work on some terrain. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, welcome back. So I'm going to try and work on building some of that terrain real quick. So I picked out this stick right here, which I noted needs a base because I want it to act as a tree. So I got some water in the back, and I have some Crayola air dry clay that I'm going to be using to try and build a base. So I already scooped a little bit out onto wax paper here so it doesn't stick everywhere. And what I'm doing with it is trying to make like a little bit of a bump, but make sure it's flat on the bottom. And I don't want it to be too huge, so I'm actually going to pull just a little bit of this off. Put that back in there. So the idea is just kind of a little smooth hump, kind of make it look mostly like the ground. Try and make it kind of merge with the ground nicely. Make sure it's not too tall. Right, that's kind of good right there, I think. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to press it down into the center. Just like that. Make sure that looks good. I'm going to add just a little bit around the base. Make sure that it's merged in there. Make sure it's looking good. Alright, that looks pretty decent right there. So I'm going to set that aside and give it some time to dry. Let me check real quick, see how long this is supposed to take to dry. It's 2 to 3 days, depending on size and thickness. So that'll be set aside on my little project shelf to let that dry for a little bit. See what else do I want to do. Got a lot of interesting sticks in here, so I might just open it up and look at some of them and see how I might want to use them, because I have to keep in mind for this game It is a racing game, so I need some like gates, like some start and finish lines. Pulling this out of my thing to add bases to. I got this stick, which could be an interesting sort of base, like little gate like that. Could be kind of interesting. I mean, worst case scenario, here's another tree. I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. Worst case scenario though, I just get some of the littler sticks or some rocks, just put them side by side and say, that's a base. Or I mean, that's a gate. And that's just the way it is, that's a gate. So, alright. So I'm gonna get another small ball of clay. I'm gonna do the same idea as this one right here for this littler one, so obviously it'll have a little bit of a smaller base. So let's do that right now. So again, I'm just gonna push it down and try and get a nice natural looking hill. Make sure it's smooth and there's no like bumps or anything crazy like that. Push this down into the middle. That looks pretty good. I'm going to wrap just a little bit around the base to make sure that it stays in exactly how I want it. There we go. So there's a couple of trees, just like that. Anything else in here that's interesting that I could do right now for you guys? This one's kind of cool. So I found this right here. And I know it's kind of far out there to think of it about it like this, but I kind of wanted to set it like that because I know trees can grow kind of crazy sometimes. So I think we're going to go ahead and build a base for this guy as well. So yeah, this is, I haven't said this, haven't mentioned this yet, but this is my first time building terrain for a game like this. So this is just new stuff. If you have any suggestions, you can go ahead and put that down in the comments. Let me know if you have any suggestions. So yeah, I'm just trying some basic stuff out here, just some ideas that I had to work on to try and build some interesting terrain. Alright, so I got another little mound there, just pretty similar to the other ones. Push this down into that mound. That looks pretty cool, actually. So this is definitely, this table is going to definitely take, or at least these terrain elements are going to be a very foresty look. All I did was basically go out into my street and just, I think it had rained a little bit that day or had been windy recently, so there's a lot of like big limbs down and stuff like that. Just broke some interesting looking pieces off and then took a knife and just kind of whittled them down a little bit to make them a little bit more reasonable. My main constraint was just trying to get them to fit into the bag so that I could try and get rid of any of the bugs or anything like that. So there we have three interesting looking, very vertical pieces to add to my terrain. I've got some rocks, like I said before. I'm not sure, I've thought about maybe building some rock structures with those. I don't know yet. I have this whole bag here of different rocks. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me just check real quick to see if there's anything else I want to build with you guys here on camera. Alright, here's one more I think we're going to do. This one also sort of far-fetched like that last one, growing off like that, but I do enjoy camping stuff like that. So I've seen some trees that grow in really weird ways, because I've been out in the forest before. So we're just going to kind of use our imagination and imagine that this tree just grew really strangely. So we got one more little ball here. We're going to push this down here. I'm trying to work on this. I just ordered the book for this game, so I can't play it just yet. But I'm trying to make sure I work on things like, get things settled like terrain and tokens and stuff like that. So as soon as I get the book, I can play my new game, because I'm very excited about this, like I said. And I'm going to try and take it to my local game store. I have a couple friends and stuff. We play there on Saturday nights, and it's pretty fun. So I'm going to take it there and see if I can get some games there. Alright, that one's kind of falling over, so I'm actually going to grab a couple of these rocks. And these aren't going to be permanent additions, but just to help make sure that it doesn't fall over. Yeah, that's some good looking terrain. So any suggestions, leave down in the comments. Leave a like if you feel this video deserves it. Subscribe also if you feel like this video deserves it. Thanks for your viewership. Share with your friends if you found any of this interesting. And give me any suggestions in the comments below. I'll be back with some battle reports hopefully soon of GasLands and some gameplay run-throughs of some other board games and card games out there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're interested in looking at some more videos, you can click right up here. I'll see you guys in the next video.